Hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. We're going to play another game of Idiot versus the Insider. I'm the idiot sitting next to, on the casting couch in South Dallas, NFL insider, not a public figure, James.
Hello, everybody. You really should start calling me the idiot.
Good point. I am absolutely crushing you so far. If you don't know what we do each week, James presents me a slate of a certain number of games. Doesn't matter how much it is. It's different every single week. And I have a force bet. I can either agree with him, disagree with him, or pivot to another bet inside that game. And so far, I am beating you 4 weeks to 1, and I am on a 4-game win streak. So when I have information, when I can grind that film, when I'm not going up against you and your insider information in week 1, when I don't know anything.
That NFL Plus subscription is paying for itself.
I am doing pretty well. Yeah, we've already paid for about a year of the NFL Plus subscription, and we're going to keep on rolling. Like, I was just on the treadmill yesterday. I'm training for a marathon. I was on the treadmill yesterday just running for 11 miles on a treadmill. Dual screen, Pat McAfee in my ear, and then every single Trevor Lawrence pass this season on the iPad. It has been an absolute spectacular time. If you don't have NFL Plus, it's also not that expensive. When I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, that's got to be $200 a month. It's so impressive. It's so nice. And then I checked, and I'd actually already been paying for it the whole time. It was NFL Plus Premium, which I guess I already had somehow.
Wow, I mean, I think they just auto sub you to whatever they have.
They probably
did. They're like, Jamie's going to be instantaneous buy.
This guy doesn't check his credit card statements anyway. We're going to get him for this NFL Plus subscription. And once he finds out, he's going to be pumped about it and not pissed.
He's going to be pumped.
But I don't want you to worry about me beating your ass. I also don't want the fans to worry about me having 4 consecutive winning weeks in a row against the sports books. Yeah. Don't worry about that. I want them to know about the story of our lock of the week last week.
Oh man,
Brian Dable. So last week we recorded on Tuesday. Today's a Tuesday morning when we're recording
on Tuesdays now.
We totally assumed, probably to our fault, but sort of the market, that Neighbors would be healthy and ready to go because he got a concussion on Thursday. Yeah. It didn't look honestly that bad. It was more like a chin pop, which we can talk about that a little bit, but most of the time guys kind of recover from that if they have like the full 10-day time frame to come back. Didn't play, and then that line moved to like 7 or 7.5, minus 7, 7.5. And on stream on Sunday, we're like, bet it.
Yeah.
At noon, we're like, just bet it. Trust us. The Giants get the ball, march all the way, or get a stop, get a ball, march it all the way down the field after forcing a 3-and-out. Friend of the podcast, Eric Gray, on the goal line, extends for a touchdown, fumble, scoop and score, 99 yards, touchdown in the opposite direction, 14-point swing. After all that happened, we still cover.
Yeah,
Giants win outright. So locks of the week are hot. We're hitting
locked in
75% rate at the moment.
The players are watching and they're saying, hey, wait a minute. We got to do this for Jamie and James.
We got to
help J&J with the lock of the week.
Shout out to our NFL football player fans who obviously watch. That was also our biggest viewed gambling podcast last week.
Really?
Yes, wow. It was by a good margin. So
shout out to people.
If you're watching this time, please share it with a friend. We're red hot here on the podcast, and we're just gonna go ahead and roll on through and get started here with the first game on the slate you've sent me. We've got the 49ers at the Seahawks. The Seahawks have a 2-game losing streak. Lions and Giants, which is our lock of the week last week, obviously.
Yeah.
The 49ers have 2 wins over the Patriots and the Jets. This is Thursday night, right, James?
This is a Thursday night matchup.
Amazon
Prime.
The first matchup of the week is what we're talking about here. The Seahawks are getting 3.5 points at home. The over-under set to 47.5. What do you got in this one, James?
Yeah, so, I mean, Niners, unimpressive. Seahawks, unimpressive. When I see 2 unimpressive teams, we all know what that means for this. If you're a longtime watcher, it's a coin flip game. I'm taking the Seahawks plus 155 at home. I know it's a shock that James takes a plus money line on a 50-50 game, but I truly don't know which team can win this game. And in those scenarios, I always love value. And plus 155 at home is a lot of value, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially for the Seahawks, especially for the Niners, who've been playing horribly.
Yeah.
So here's my take on the game. 49ers a little bit unlucky. So 0-3 in close games, which close games out of like the lucky stats that we look at penalties, we look at close game wins and losses, and then of course we look at the turnover differential, which I think the turnover differential is the biggest luck, like just randomness statistic. So if you're winning in turnover differential, that's actually kind of negative for your performance of the season. Common opponent, New England Patriots, both get a win. One was a close road win for the Hawks, and one was a blowout at home for the Niners. But let's talk about this Detroit flu. So Detroit flu remains undefeated. That's why we bet the Giants last week. Yeah. Every game that the Lions play a team, the next week they lose against the spread and they lose outright. 100% of the time so far this season. Right. Unfortunately, Lions have a bye this week, so that's not going to be our best bet of the week. But
disappointing.
Let me bring this to your attention. In that second week, so once they recover from the Detroit flu, two of the teams, ironically, go up against the 49ers and win outright.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Rams Detroit flu game, lose 41-10, then beat the 49ers 27-24. Cardinals lose 42-14, then beat the 49ers 24-23. Bucks lose after the Detroit game 26-7. And then beat the Eagles 33-16.
Wow.
How do you like that bounce back flu game?
If I had a nickel every time that happened, I'd have 2 nickels, which is still a lot.
Good amount of nickels. So on the 49ers side of things, we have to talk about Ayuk and Trent are looking way better coming off of their long-term holdouts. They were out of shape. They were out of sync in the first couple of games. They're starting to look a lot better. Ayuk had probably his best game so far with his new contract for the 49ers. 49ers defensively are 7th best EPA per pass attempt, but 18th EPA per run attempt. So about middle of the pack in the run. Kenneth Walker, who's missed a lot of games this season, he's a dog. He's better than Breece Hall, just like I always said he was. I thought I was wrong about that for a little while. I'm like, maybe everyone was right. Maybe Breece Hall is better. I'm like, no way now. I'm all the way back on the Kenneth Walker, the Ken Bone train.
Walking with Walker?
I'm walking with Walker. Walker missed a few games this year, and even with that, even with those few missed games with Charbonnet running the football, the Seahawks are still 9th best offensively in EPA per run. This on a neutral site, so what this number is telling you, on a neutral site, the 49ers should be about 6-point favorites. Because would you agree you'd give 2.5 for Seahawks 12th man?
I'd probably give 3 to 3.5.
3. So if
it's it's the loudest stadium.
So if you say
mathematically by decibels,
for sure. If you say 3, that would get it out to 6.5, 3.5. That's 7. But conservatively, we'll say 2.5, right? Yeah. So on a neutral site, you're telling me the 49ers at this point of the season are 6 points better?
Not from what I'm seeing.
From the Seattle Seahawks? Not from what I'm seeing. I think the 11th man is...
Unless CMC's suddenly playing.
He's not. He's not. The 11th man's still real. I think he's coming back in November. So no worries there. I think the Seahawks match up fine with this team. At one point, are we going to look at this 49ers team and be like, they're probably not as good as we thought, right?
They might be washed.
They might be washed. It might be over for them. So for all those reasons, I am going to agree with you, but I'm going to take the Seahawks at plus 3.5 instead of the money line, James.
That makes sense. Moving
on to the next game, we've got
this 49ers team just get a first-round pick and then take Jalen Milroe. Could you imagine?
Why are you so obsessed with Jalen Milroe? I'm still a believer in Brock Purdy, for the record. Jags, Bears, Sunday morning.
Big one.
It's a neutral site game in London. I mean, I guess you would say, so it's going to be a Bears home game, which is interesting because Jags are like the London team in air quotes. They beat the Bills there last year, but they, stayed there over. They were 2-0 last year because they stayed over. Anyways, they're the London team.
They set up residence there.
They're playing Hotspurs Stadium. Jags' first win last week. Bears are 3-2. Bears are 2-point favorites on this neutral site, technically a home game. Over under set to 42 points, James.
Yeah, so this actually, my pick has a lot to do with the hurricane that's going on here.
Okay.
Jags travel schedule, sketchy because of this, right? They got to get out probably a little earlier than they were planning on. Wow. They're probably doing a lot of rush moves here.
That's a good point.
I'm not buying the Bears hype wagon. Unfortunately, I don't think that they are. I think Caleb Williams is improving, but I don't think they're as good as the score indicated last week. I'm taking the under on this one.
Okay.
And as of your notes, this line has moved a lot because I got 44.5 and you have it at 42 already.
Oh, wow.
That's already moved a lot. So I'm sorry I moved the market.
Those are 2 big points too.
2.5 big points.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, America. I need to stop moving these lines before we do this podcast.
Yeah. Quit putting your bets in.
Me and all my gambling little elves in Las Vegas are just betting away.
Well, then they're just gonna start subscribing to the channel. So yeah, don't put your bets out that early. Wait until we post the episode for 30 minutes or whatever. So then you can move the line.
We need to record this live, and I need to hit the bet as we do it.
So you have under 44
and a half.
Yeah. Oof. Do you think you can even get that number? Because the rules of the podcast are that we go. Do you still like it down to 43? No. If it was current market, I'd take I would take Jags money line probably. Okay. I don't know what we should do then. If it moved 2 points already,
2.5 points. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe that it moved that.
What about you're not going to be able to find.
Let me look what it is right.
You're not going to be able to find it at 44. I don't think.
Let's look what it is right.
While you're looking,
I can find 44 right now.
Let me go ahead.
I can find 44 right
now. Oh, you
now.
can?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So shop your lines.
Get the 44, please.
44 right now. Okay. So we're locking it in as we're recording. That's 44. Still available.
Yep.
So a lot of discrepancy there.
I'll take that.
I think I'm not a really well read on the over under like key numbers, but I think 43 and 44 are like 2 really big key numbers if I remember correctly. So let me tell you, all the stuff we said about Caleb Williams in college were like, hey, that shit ain't gonna work once you get to the NFL. Well, turns out it works against the Panthers.
It does.
It works extremely well against the Panthers. They suck on defense, and they kind of suck on offense, too. Jags got off to a big early lead with the help of Tank Bigsby, their young rising star, and Brian Thomas, who's probably going to go down in history as maybe the 2nd or 3rd best wide receiver in this draft class, which if you said that a few months ago, people would call you a dumb idiot.
Call Jerry Rice and let him know that there's going to be a bus next to him with Brian Thomas.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, Brian Thomas is an absolute stud. Caleb improves every single week. The accuracy is kind of now there that we were seeing in college, and they are all the way in sync. Caleb is all the way in sync with DJ Moore now. 5 for 105 and 2 touchdowns last week. Would have gotten more yards if they had bigger end zones to run through. Caleb Williams.
Get those Canadian football end zones, huh?
Yeah. Improving every week. Week 1 against the Titans, 55 passer rating. Week 2 against the Texans, 51. Week 3 against the Colts, 80. Week 4 against the Rams, 106. Week 5 against the Panthers. It's the Panthers, so let's be real. But still,
doesn't count.
126. So
it's like playing a all offense, no defense team. It's just you're running 11 out there and just running your pass plays.
Even if you take away that Panthers game, Rams are a solid defense. Colts are a solid defense. So steady improvement week by week for the young lad. You can't throw against the Bears, but you can run. Chuba Hubbard averaged 7.5 yards per carry last week. Bears are middle of the pack in EPA per play versus the run defensively. Jags are 12th in EPA per run offensively, 24th in EPA per pass offensively. ETN, I think, is going to be out for this game. He's got a little bit of a shoulder ding-up situation. Not exactly sure what's going on with that. But Tank, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing with how good Tank Bigsby's looking.
Yeah. Sitting on a plane for 7 hours probably didn't help that either.
No, he's getting stiff.
One of these, even if he's in the first class seat, he's still probably doing one of these.
I don't think he's playing. Bears defense has always been there for like the past 5 years, it seems. Doesn't matter who the offense is. Now they have someone on offense who can kind of move the football efficiently. Jags do get, I would say, a little bit of a relief from winning their first game of the season, which I think would be a negative for them going into London, with a big distraction going into London. And the Bears, I think, are poised in the AFC North to try and win the damn thing, and they know every single game they need to win. I don't like this one last thing about the Bears. Eberflus never coached overseas. Back with his time with the Colts and during his time with the Bears, he has never encountered an overseas game. So how are they going to manage that overseas? I don't know. The Jags are supposed to be their home field over there in London, but I think with them sucking as bad as they have early on, Brian Thomas and Trevor Lawrence are really starting to find a groove. Talking about watching every pass from Trevor Lawrence, missed Brian Thomas a lot wide open in the first 3 weeks. Didn't happen last week as much. With all that being said, Bears are trending upward. Jags get a win finally. They try to blow it. Gets a backup quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Rising Stars and the Bears at -2. So I'm going to pivot off of your over-under, James.
Wow.
But don't you worry. I've got over-unders coming.
Oh, do you?
Down your way.
Down my gullet.
Down your gullet. Commanders at Ravens. Ravens on a 3-game win streak are 6.5 point favorites at home. The over-under set to 49.5, James.
Yeah, so Cliff Kingsbury, Jane Daniels, match made in heaven.
I'd say.
Have absolutely loved every game I've watched from the Commanders. I mean,
they're like the best offense of all time through 5 weeks of a season.
If I'm on a train, it's that one, and it's a high speed train. It's a Japanese bullet train. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And I think I want to see them keep rolling. How
do they fix the offensive line? Sorry, James, go ahead.
They go. If you were playing college football or Madden, they would go into the line adjustments, and they would probably like double whoever the best D lineman is. Would usually be a good idea, but. To be fair, they can have turnstiles for offensive linemen. Jaden Daniels will still escape and get out there. Probably, if I was a legitimate answer, I would say roll him out of the pocket with designed rollouts and just have literally a guard pull on that rollout at that point.
That would be a fun inquiry to put into NFL Pro, is how he's doing outside of the pocket versus inside of the pocket. Because inside of the pocket, for my eyes, he's slinging it. Anyways, keep going, James.
They've found a way to score no matter what.
Yeah.
This Ravens team has a lot of question marks on my end from the defensive side. I even with the additions that they made in the offseason, I think they are just not holding people down, especially in the pass game. I mean, if you watch that Cowboys game, if you watch that Bengals game, they let up some really major pass breakdowns.
Yep.
And what is Washington really good at? Rolling out, extending plays, throwing the ball deep to a scary Terry.
Scoring.
Yeah. So 6.5 is a lot of points to have for a team that can score at will. And so I really like the Commanders plus 6.5 here. I don't really care what the Commanders defense does. I think the Commanders offense just keeps them in this game and at least covers that 6.5 spread.
Okay. I like it. That's where I was leaning. But both of these teams, beat the Bengals in close, high scoring games. So they're pretty similar in that aspect. Ravens last week, overtime. I'm going to talk about this. Ravens win the coin toss. Lamar fumbles. The Bengals go 3 and out, miss the field goal on, I think, a bad snap. Derrick Henry runs the ball for 60 yards, gets pushed out of bounds at the 10-yard line. James had it at 5 because you sold some points. I had it at 3, which I could have gotten at 2.5 if I shot my number before the podcast, but we just go off the DraftKings numbers because I'm lazy. And the Ravens on first down kick a field goal. James is beside himself on the casting couch. Like, just give it to Derrick Henry one more time.
I know. Like, what? I don't.
For the love of God. And I'm like, no, James, they're kicking a field goal. This is Harbaugh football. This is how they roll.
It would have been ultimate karma if they had messed up the snap on the field.
It really would have been, because you were like, we just saw them mess up the.
Yeah.
Anyways,
literally, the Bengals had missed the field goal because of a bad snap.
Anyways,
it's fine.
Teams.
I'm not angry about it.
Top 2 offenses in the league in EPA per play. EPA per rush highly favors the Commanders, actually, which I thought was surprising. Defensively, Commanders are the 7th worst, which is an improvement from the first 2 weeks in EPA per pass. So they've actually really improved in that metric.
Get better.
Ravens 12th worst in that same metric defensively. So neither of the team can really stop the pass very well. Defensively, Ravens 5th best in EPA per run. Commanders are 14th in that metric. So middle of the pack for the Commanders, and Ravens are pretty darn good at stopping the run. Ravens have gone up against the Bengals, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. Chiefs are 4th best in EPA per run. Bills are 8th. Bengals are 15th. Cowboys are 21st. Raiders last. Oh, boy. Chiefs.
Don't tell John Gruden.
So Chiefs, who are the 4th best EPA per run, the best running team that they have faced the Ravens, scored 27 points in a win over the Ravens. Bills only scored 10, so that's the first and second best running offense. One of them was able to score, one of them wasn't.
No.
So a little bit concerning there for where I'm headed, but on the road, the Commanders score 20 in week 1, 38 in week 3, and 42 football points in week 4. Last 3 games for the Commanders are averaging 38 points a game. Ravens' last 3 games are averaging 34 points per game. I'm not very good at addition, but I'm pretty sure that comes out to well above 49.5.
That does.
Which is the over-under for this game. This over-under should literally be like 55.5.
Put it up to 60.
It is nowhere near low enough. Defensively, offensively, both teams match up extremely well with each other for high-scoring points. I definitely lean to 6.5 for the Commanders, but I'm just going to take the over, because if the Ravens are able to actually cover that spread, it's definitely going over. And I don't think the Commanders defense is really going to be able to hold the Ravens to less than 20 points. So for that reason, I just have to go with the over 49.5. But I like where your head's at betting on Jaden Daniels, who's gone up against good defenses.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
It's going to be a high-flying, point-scoring.
Should that be our live stream?
Game of the week. That game is Sunday.
Yeah, that's probably a nooner.
I am going to be going to Jerry World to watch the Cowboys play my Lions.
Sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I actually
I didn't think about that.
So when you sent me this, I actually texted one of my buddies who's like a famous comedian now, and I was like, "Yo, man, Drew Nickens, can you? I'll drop his name. Can you make it here?" He's like, I might be able to. He's in Austin, but he's gonna be in town here for some shows that weekend. And I was like, he's a Commanders fan. I'm like, you want to be on the stream? And he's like, actually, I probably can make it. And I was like, my dad's flying into town. We're going. That's how excited I got for the live stream of that game too. So
I don't blame you.
Oh well,
that's fair.
Moving on to the next game, Bengals. Have we agreed yet?
We agreed on
the first one.
Seahawks.
Okay. Oh, the Detroit recovery flu game.
Yes.
Cool. Bengals at Giants. Bengals blow it. Last week, they give up a big lead, and then they blow it in overtime, like we just talked about.
The Bongles.
The only
win it.
For the Bungles is against the Panthers. They won by 10 points.
Oh. Big resume win. That's a statement win.
Statement win.
That's a statement win for all cat-related mascots.
Giants have 3 losses to the Commanders, the Vikings, and the Cowboys. The Giants are at home, getting 3.5 points. The over-under set to 49, James.
Yeah. Brian Dable, mastermind, leader of men, creator of explosive offenses. Malik Neighbors, probably back.
If we had to guess.
Giants, I mean, it's a Seahawks team that's not great, but still pretty good win to come back from down that much so early.
Yeah.
Didn't quit, which is just a testament to the leadership in the coaching staff. And on the field too, I guess. But
I'd say
I love the Giants on this one. At home, plus 155 again. Yeah, I got 2 155s in this stream. Yeah, fantastic. Those are great for me. You know me, I love underdogs. I love money line underdogs. This just lines up perfectly for that. I think the Giants can. I think they should be favored.
Home underdogs.
Yeah, I think they should be favored.
Home underdogs.
I think they should be favored. I think this is the point, especially with the internal monologues you're probably hearing from the Bengals. This is the point where you see collapse in teams in the NFL. This is where the divas start coming out. This is where
and those Bengals got some divas, don't they?
I mean, they've got less divas than a runway show, but not by a lot. If you want to see more divas, you can watch a Drew Paul show, but that's about it for for divas in the room.
They're like early teens WWE right now with how many divas they got running out on that offense. So to be fair to the Bengals, 0-4 in close games.
Okay.
They've had 4 close games. They've lost every single one of them. A little bit of luck involved there, but when you get a fumbled snap from Lamar Jackson in overtime and all you need to do is get a field goal to win, that's pretty lucky.
You got to get that.
I think that's about as lucky as you could possibly get after leading and giving up that big lead. So it should have been a blowout. It shouldn't have been a close game.
They had the game. They lost it. They had the game. And they lost.
In overtime. Yeah.
It's like that guy with the dollar bill. You just got to be quicker than that.
You got to be quicker than that, Bengals. Neighbors is back, like you said. I'm going to keep it pretty simple here. Offensive EPA per play. Bengals have the advantage. 3rd best in the NFL. A lot of that's going to have to do with them playing behind, obviously, a lot. Yep. Giants are middle of the pack with 15th in the NFL, but improving every single week, like you said, with a great, brilliant leader, Brian Daboll.
Mastermind.
Defensive EPA per play. Bengals are 29th, so one of the worst in the NFL, 3rd worst in the NFL. And Giants, again, kind of middle of the pack, above average, sitting at 12th in EPA per play. So on paper, I have it as, like you said, a pretty even game. Giants are home, so give them maybe 1.5 or 2 points for that. Doesn't make sense that the Giants are underdogs against the Bengals, who stink. Malik Neighbors, who is amazing.
Yeah.
What answer are the Bengals going to have for Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones?
They're gonna have to guess, and they're gonna guess wrong.
I think so too.
It's like the multiple choice question. It's like when you're taking the ACT back in the day and you had no clue, and you're like, I hope this one's it.
Bet C. Yeah. It's not always C. So I'm going to take Giants at +3.5. Not going to take the money line, but I like those 3.5 points. Those are big 3.5 points.
That's fair
for the Giants. Going on to our last game, right, James?
This is the last one that I sent you.
Okay.
I just realized that I didn't send you one of the ones I bet.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I'll keep it to myself.
Maybe bonus bet at the end.
Bonus bet at the end. Hey, James didn't send this.
Do you want it under your record? On your record?
I definitely do if it hits.
Okay, well, I'll let you decide if you want it on your record.
Take it on my record.
I will not bet it. I'm not going to bet it.
I like it.
Okay,
that's a deal.
Because I didn't get a chance to.
That's fair.
Do my research.
I need to send you the full slate one day just for fun. I really do.
Monday Night Football. I'm glad you didn't send me that much because I didn't have time to go over it. We're recording way too early today. I literally like school days. Woke up early, started studying this morning.
I literally went home after the class you coached last night, and like literally was like, okay, what's best?
Anyways, Monday Night Football. Bills at Jets. Coach fired. I missed
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
As I was doing my research, the only time I'm not looking at my phone and Twitter, my phone's buzzing the whole time, like bzz, 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 bzz. What the hell's going on? Just like a bunch of Twitter notifications. I'm like, get out of my face. I'm trying to study here.
I'm in the lab.
Robert Saleh, who's obviously been the worst head coach in the NFL for the past 4 years. I've been saying it on Twitter. I got blown up by Jets fans for saying it 3 years ago. I've since come back to them on Twitter and ask them how they're feeling now.
Back? Did you save them? Did you bookmark those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, yeah. And
could you imagine if you could group bookmarks? Like you'd be like,
you can now.
Hey, you can
on X. Shout out to Elon.
Haters to reach back out to.
You literally
in 2 years
I literally have different receipts now. So shout out to Elon. This is a feature he added. You can for your bookmark different folders.
Oh, so
I have like
Robert Saleh idiots.
Robert Saleh bookmarks, Robert Saleh receipts. Like I have a whole.
This is literally the meme where it's like men will do anything but go to therapy. It's like men will just bookmark people to tweet back at when they're proven right.
You're literally Remember when you said Robert Saleh was a good head coach in his second year in the NFL? Anyways, fired head coach game. Jets are underdogs here at home. 2.5 point favorites. What do you got in this one?
Yeah. So interim coach is going to be the defensive coordinator, which I think is important here.
Yep.
I think that's actually a bad thing.
Yep.
I think this was an Aaron Rodgers push firing. Don't think it makes sense that they didn't then appoint his offensive coordinator. So I think he's having some he's not happy with the offensive coordinator that he was being so nice about.
Yeah, but his offensive coordinator, we all know, is an absolute doofus, and that's why he's there, so Aaron Rodgers can run the offense. Hasn't gone great so far, James. Go ahead.
No, exactly. I think we're seeing internal turmoil. I know we have the classic interim head coach is really good. I looked it up for you. I brought my own stats for today because I knew that you were going to be asking about this. First time interim head coaches, they're 15-12.
Okay.
15-12 since 2010.
Straight up.
I think this is about to be 15-13.
Straight up.
Yeah. I am 100% convinced that the Jets are in complete turmoil. Monday night helps them just the slightest bit, but I do not think this is one of the situations where it works out for them.
A little more time to recover from their long flight, right?
Yeah, a little more time to take more peyote and feel it out. I think the Bills definitely want to prove that they're the best in New York. They want to bounce back from this week. I think if anything, they're pulling in as many wrinkles as possible with the opposing team, less time to prepare. So I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking the Bills minus 145, which I think may be the highest money line I've taken on this.
Yeah, it's pretty close. You've had a couple in the 140s, 130s so far in the minus range.
I will not cross the 160 threshold on this podcast, I promise.
Okay, fair enough. My take. So my whole handicap was before I found out about Robert Saleh getting fired.
You were doing these notes. Yeah, I showed up and I said, man, I can't believe he got fired. And Jamie went, what?
What are you talking about?
What?
Literally, what are you talking about? I made him open Twitter for me. Like, you're lying.
He needed receipts.
Great move by the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mike Williams is kind of the best offensive weapon on the team. He should kind of be all the way back from his ramp-up period now. I think that'll help the Jets offense out a lot. They do need that kind of back shoulder guy because Garrett Wilson has just not looked the part this year. They have mixed it up last week with the route chart. A week before, Garrett Wilson was basically running like 2 routes, and he actually got up onto the media and was like, I watch these other football games and I see these other like actual professionally run organizations, and they're like changing the offensive plays and having people line up in different positions, and we're just not doing that. That's what he said with cameras on him into a microphone.
Yeah, that's not shocking that old Rob got fired the next day.
Yeah. So last week they mix it up with Garrett Wilson. He gets his first 100-yard receiving, his first good game as a Jet, and still watching. It's just like, God, Garrett Wilson is just not where he was the last 2 seasons. To my eyeballs.
Do you think that they fired him on Tuesday so that way they wouldn't talk about it on Monday Night Football last night?
Yes.
That is the most we live in the biggest media network possible move. So I just thought about that while you're talking. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Breece Hall also not looking how he should. Numbers wise, I just looked at his stats last year, and I've never been a big like film guy for him compared to Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Still a good starting level running back in the league, but just not been.
You had a good comment yesterday about perhaps somebody on that team's better than him.
Oh, Braylon Allen, Agent Zero,
the
youngest offensive weapon in the NFL that somebody traded for a bag of chips in my dynasty league, and then I lost my matchup because Travis Kelce was a part of that trade and he beat me. I'm not bitter about it at all. Anyways. Both teams are on a 2-game losing streak. Bills can murder bad teams. They beat the Dolphins by 21 on the road this season, which is a road game. Are the Jets a bad team? We're going to find out in a second, but
I don't know if it'll actually be a road game at that point.
The Jets game?
Just take
with Buffalo?
Take a quick drive down from the mainland down to
You don't
New
know
Jersey.
Jets fans like I do. They ain't selling their tickets to Bills fans, I'll tell you that much. Bills, so luck, all right? Bills turnover differential, third best, or Bills turnover differential best in the NFL, third best in penalties against.
Wow.
Lucky, which is why I picked the Texans last week over the Bills, and I was right.
Came close.
Jets, unlucky, 26th in penalties against. Are the Jets bad? 4th in EPA per play on defense, so we've been watching them play all season like, man, this defense just doesn't look good. Turns out that's not really the case. Been put in some bad situations, had some bad turnover luck in bad areas of the football field. So Jets defense still playing well defensively. Bills in that metric are 10th versus 4th. The Jets are 24th in EPA per play on offense. Bills are 5th. Wow. So Jets one of the worst. Bills one of the best.
That's
so
a big discrepancy.
Big discrepancy there. With all this being said, you can never count out Rodgers. He's run the table before. He's looked terrible in 2-3 game streaks, and he just kind of figures it out. He runs practice well, I think.
He goes on a good trip.
And he just figures things out. His weapons, like we said, aren't looking the part. So why do they look so bad on offense? Let me tell you the defense they've played.
Okay.
Broncos.
Ooh.
EPA per play on defense, second best. Vikings, best. Number 1 in the NFL in EPA per play on defense. Last 2 games for the Jets. That's who they faced. Titans, 5th best. 49ers, 9th best.
Wow.
They have run an absolute defensive gauntlet over the past whole season. Bills are lucky. Jets have run the defensive gauntlet. Bills are good, but not elite. And I think the Jets are a good football team, and they're not going to get blown out by the Bills for that reason. This is the Jets' 3rd home game, so they've only been home twice so far. So to my point, Jets fans are going to be there. They're going to be excited to watch Raj play. They know they can still turn the season around because, like I said, Aaron Rodgers has run the table before. I'm sure that's what they're talking about on the radio station. Well, not today. But I'm sure that's what they have been talking about to help Jets fans cope with how bad it's been. Bills just took a long flight to Texas, Houston. That's a pretty long flight too. So
not bad.
Not as bad as what the Jets just went through, but they probably got home at around the same time because Jets got done.
Buffalo, not a major airport hub.
Yeah, they probably had similar travel schedules. Just the Jets got off to an earlier game. Robert Saleh, worst head coach in NFL history, probably up there with Freddie Kitchens. Team hates him. It's obvious. Rodgers never liked him.
Yeah, was
just kind of the heir apparent, just kind of there.
You don't think Mike Ditka at the Saints was the worst head coach of all time? that's what I have circled.
When a head coach is fired, you gave me the overall statistics. I haven't pulled it up, but the ATS against the spread would highly favor the actual head coach being fired team. Yep. It's kind of same thing when you get the new quarterback in, the Andy Dalton single bump game that you got. Team's going to be excited. They're sick of Robert Saleh. He's a doofus. He went to Fordson High School, for goodness sakes. And we all know dudes from Fordson are absolutely R-worded. James.
I have no idea where Fordson High School is.
It's in Dearborn, Michigan.
Oh, it's a Michigan thing. Is it there?
It's right about there.
Oh, well, if it's from there,
obviously. Guess where I went to high school. Also there.
Okay. It's got to be close.
We're walking distance from Robert Saleh's alma mater.
They are redundant.
Very redundant high school. Pretty good at wrestling though. Anyways, Jets are going to be so relieved that they have not Robert Saleh coaching the team. I think they made a good decision making the defensive coordinator the interim guy because in game time decisions, that'll help them. I don't think their offensive coordinator has shown that he can do that when he was head coach. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Jets. I am going to take the +2.5 at home. I think every single game I've bet on aside, I think all of them are home underdogs.
Yeah.
Which is a great side. I love being on the home underdog side.
Those are good. Those are nice.
I did make a note here because of all those road underdogs. We're getting a lot of like 2.5s and 3s.
You want to tease them?
Our best bet could be a teaser.
Tease them
up to 6, or tease them 6 points, right?
Seahawks, Jets, Giants teaser.
With that being said, I would like to put together probably 2 of them, and the ones we agreed on, James, are Seahawks, right?
Yep.
They are getting 3.5, so we could tease them up to 9. But I really like that over under on the Ravens as well, James. So we could tease that over under down to 43.5. We just need them both to score 22 points.
Oh my.
The two best offenses in the league.
What'd you say the Ravens one was at?
49.5.
Wow, I've got 52.5 in my book right now.
Oh, this is
That's
up to date
crazy.
DraftKings. So
that's crazy.
So 49.5 over under for the Ravens. We could tease down to 43.5. What's 43.5 divided by 2, James? 22 whatever. Okay.
I didn't even use the calculator.
Well, I think
that's SEC math for you.
SEC math. I mean, that's the two best offenses in the league.
Yeah.
So I love that teaser, James. The Giants.
I would agree on a Giants Seahawks teaser to get them at 9.5 each.
Giants Seahawks teaser. Bengals bungled it last week. The Giants defense is pretty solid. And then we are kind of betting against our own tail though, right? Because we're betting on the Detroit flu and against the Detroit flu kind of. Because this number moved, the Giants Bengals probably moved in the Giants direction. We didn't look at the lines in the summer lines or anything for this one, but I'd assume it moved in the Giants direction coming off of their win.
Yep.
So we're kind of betting against our own tail there. I think the Cardinals kind of look bad after they benefited from the Detroit flu game as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I love that. I guess we didn't disagree. I guess we disagreed on the over under we didn't bet on each other's side. We can't bet on the Jets. We can bet on the Giants.
This is a tough lock of the week.
I kind of just want to make it the Seahawks, James.
I'm fine with that. More than fine with that.
The Bears. We were opposite on the Bears too, right? You had the Jags.
I had the over under, and I
took the Bears side.
If I had to pick a side, I would have picked the Jags.
Seahawks +3, 12th man at home against the struggling 49ers.
I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one
too.
Seems like a little bit of a lock. Seems like a lock.
Seems like a little bit of a lock.
How much of this are you going to edit out on the thinking?
None of them. None of it. Seahawks +3.5. So you want to do 2 locks of the week?
2? That would ruin the lock of the week idea, wouldn't it?
Well, we could get back to 1 lock a week because we didn't do one in week 1.
That's fair.
So it would make sense.
That would even it out.
It would even it out.
Okay, Seahawks locked in that's your Thursday night lock of the week.
Yeah.
And then your Sunday night lock of the week.
Short game too, simplified. We didn't talk about simplified short game. They're going to run the football, keep it simple with Ken Bone Walker.
Yeah.
So I really like the Seahawks on a short week there. And it just doesn't give enough time for that 49ers coaching staff to figure shit out, which I also like.
Yep.
Betting against them on a short week. Giants, we also agreed on +3.5.
Lock it. 3.5. Lock it. Is that game's first name Tyler? Because you better lock it.
2 locks of the week.
2 locks of the week.
Both home underdogs. Both getting 3.5. Both, I think, are going to have motivated home field advantage.
Fire picks. Fire. Don't tease that. Parlay that.
Not officially.
No, don't actually do that.
For the sake of our gambling
never
show.
Parlay.
Literally never parlay.
Never. Until we get sponsored by a sports book, and then we're going to tell you that parlays are great.
With all this being said, the teasers, I mean, Bengals could just turn it up. They have an offense. No. Daniel Jones could throw 2 picks, so we could lose that on the teaser.
I don't think the 6th member of NSYNC's going to come out there and fire a ton of touchdowns. And I'm talking about Joe Burrow.
But these Seahawks, man.
The only highlights that he has is his hair.
These Seahawks, man. I really, 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 really like these Seahawks. 49ers have looked bad, but they've had a lot of close games, close losses. But 12th man?
12th man. Loudest decibel stadium. Designed to be loud. Engineered to be loud.
Let's not get overconfident.
They had an architect do that.
Let's not get overconfident here.
Okay, all right. You just want one?
Seahawks +3.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. Lock of the week. My name is Jamie Jakes. Follow me at JMJKS on X. We're 75% in the locks of the week so far this year. We've had 4 of them. We didn't do week 1, which is probably pretty smart.
Yeah.
Probably stick to that for next year too.
Yeah.
Not a public figure, is an NFL insider. James, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this slate? You think you're going to turn it around here, or do you think I'm just going to run away with this? I'm in the
Feels great. The beauty of the NFL season is there's a lot of weeks.
Lots of weeks. You got 18 plus playoffs.
5 weeks is not even a third of the full season.
It is a quarter, though.
So this would be the equivalent of you coming out of the blocks hot on a 400-meter race. But I'm a late kicker. If you ever watched my high school tape,
yeah,
late kicker in the 400.
Yep.
I like letting other people go out first and then crushing their souls at the end.
But with all this being said, I don't think anybody's seeing the board as well as me right now.
No, you're killing it.
I don't think any sports gambler, anybody who's talking into a microphone on camera or even off camera, like podcast style, is as hot as me right now. I didn't run the numbers for this one, but I was like 66% against the spread and against the over-unders through week 4. And I was, I think, 55% in week 5. So I think I'm still over.
And don't forget that 7-0 week.
That 7-0. Well, of course, 7-0 week is the one that really, really helps me. And after week 1, my only losing week of the season so far, I was like 70% or something crazy like that. So I'm seeing the board pretty well. I am watching a lot of film. I'm doing a lot of research. Expectations wise, if I am 55 against the spread in these forced bets, against the spread and forced bets and only going off of one sports book, if I'm 55% at the end of the season, that's incredible. So I don't think anybody's
seats next year.
I don't think anybody's seeing the board quite like me. You're still going to be the insider. We're going to have to. What's something that starts with an I that means you're a brilliant human being,
intellectual.
The intellect versus the insider.
Yeah.
If I win, I am going to get myself a championship belt, and I'm going to lord it over you every single week, all 18 weeks next season. So get ready for that.
Can't wait.
Anyways, please subscribe to the channel if you liked it. If you liked it, also leave a like, leave a comment,
subscribe, and make sure you're staying safe out there if you're in Florida. But also, big advantages to being a gambler right now with that storm. Any team traveling into or out of Florida, look up what they're doing, figure out if their schedule is messed up. Probably a lot of games going to get canceled this weekend as well.
Bet against them. Don't say that.
In college, there's no home games in Florida this week, surprisingly, for the NFL.
Thank goodness.
And then we got Tampa flying out to New Orleans today.
Sweet.
So those are some things of note. Check it out if you're also a gambler like me.
Sweet. If you didn't like it, leave a comment. Tell us why you hate us, and share it with your enemy. My name is Jamie Jakes for NFL Insider James. We'll see you next time.